Alright, so we're looking at average price. So this one, I think nobody asked me to do this specifically, so I'm going to start with a given code. Just see average price. So I'm going to use this code again and then we'll adjust it from there. Oh, I see she even used the float to string f. Alright, that's nice. Alright. Okay, so calculating the average price. Step 1, degree when we want to calculate the average price, we need to know to calculate the average of anything is add them all up, divide by how many numbers we've got. So we need to work out a total. So we create a sum and we start at 0. We initialize that variable to 0. And we need another variable count. Well, we don't actually need count. Count's not needed. Because, why don't we need count? How many variables do we have? How many values do we have? Yes, Q. Q is our counter. So we don't need to count again because that will just tell us Q again. So we don't need the count, but we need to work out the sum. So the sum, and to get the total of all the numbers, we for loop to go through all the variables of all the elements in the array, and we say sum gets the value of whatever sum was plus the array price at position I. So this would add all the prices to sum and put it into sum. And that would give us the total of all the prices. Then we just need to divide that by Q, which will be our average, and then we can just display the average. Now, what's nice about this code here, you'll see generally we always just go float to string. So, alright, so what's nice having the float to string f, then we can format the output. So it's this variable, we're going to put in the currency format. Then this is the amount of spaces, how to say, on the positive side, or on the whole number side of the fraction, and that's how many decimal places you want. And that just puts the R in front for us and just makes it look nice. So that is our average. Alright, that went quick. And now we're looking for the most expensive product. So the key thing maybe to understand with this one first is, so do you agree? I don't want to know what the price is of the most expensive one. I actually want to know the name of the product that is most expensive. So what we need to do here is we actually want to work out which product is the most expensive, but then we want to keep the name of that item. So let's see how this goes. Copy. I'm going to copy this code and paste it here, and then we're going to see if this is going to work or not. Alright. So step 1 is we want to work out what is the highest price. So what was done here is our most variable, so we created a variable most, which is sort of the highest price, and it started at 0. What is another option we could have done? We want to initialize. Yes, that I love that. Yes, that I love that the most, because okay, in this case, if you want the highest one and you start very low, it's fine. So 0 is fine because we're working with prices. So you can't have something that will cost less than 0. But just always assuming it, let's say you wanted the highest temperature, but then you're writing a program for that, but then you give it to somebody that works in the North Pole. And now you initialize to 0. So now suddenly 0 is actually the highest because all their temperatures are negatives. So that's why generally I like when we do initialize with either most or least, that we start with the first one. So we can say array price 1 or 0 in my case. We can say is then just automatically the highest one. Then our for loop, you can still stick it to 0, but if you want to just be a bit more efficient, you can start at 1 actually. Because we're assuming the first one is the highest one. So we start looking from the second one to compare to see, is there any other price that's in the array that is a higher price than this first one? So we loop through the array and we compare the prices to most to see if is there any price which is greater than most. As soon as we get one that's more, then we give that price to most. And this would work out the highest price for us at that stage. So what I suggest we do here is, do you agree we've got most that will work out the highest price for us? And we do need that. So this piece of code that we've got here, we cannot get rid of it. This must stay here. The only trick is we don't want to keep the price. Do you agree? We want the name of the item. So the item name, so I'm going to call it NME. That would be a string. So what we do now is we keep this going along with the other one. Alright, so what we do is, if you assume the first price is the most, then it means the name you have to keep is also the first name. So our name 0. So what we're going to do, we're sort of going to link these two now as well. So whenever you save the price into most, you're going to take that name and put it into name. So then we take our for loop to go through the array. We've got our if to check, is there any price that's more than that one? And then as soon as you save that price, then we also just save the name at that position. So they're going to sort of go together. As soon as we save the price, we save the name. And then what we can do is, when we display, you will display that name, and then we don't have all this. And then we can, instead of the price, we can then put our most. So this product has got that price, which is the highest. And we can maybe just put a message in here. Let's say most expensive. Maybe something like that. And that would look good. So to quickly just show again, the idea is, because we want the name of the product that's most expensive, but most expensive means we're checking the prices, but we want to keep the name. So we need a variable for the price and a variable for the name. We said when we initialize, we want to start with the first one's automatically the most expensive. So we keep that price, but we also keep that name. Then we loop through the arrays, checking each of the prices with the most one to see if there's one that is higher. Give me a few seconds. And then if we do get a price that is higher than that one, then we take that price and put it into most. But because you took that price at position I and put it in there, you have to put the name of that item also into this variable. And that will run through all of them. Every time you get a more expensive one, it will keep the price and the name of those two items. So when you're done, those two variables will have the name and the price of the most expensive one.